Hello and welcome back to Soul Speak. I am Meg Michelson. Thanks so much for joining me. This past few weeks, we've talked about endings and beginnings, and I wanted to continue with that today, bringing forward some of the thoughts from last week, and then, of course, some new thoughts, because it is so important. We're not always recognizing when we are stuck, and we are in a very powerful time. And our thoughts, of course, affect us every day, throughout the day, sometimes way more than we even realize, like I talked about last episode with that older woman who was really stuck from those childhood beliefs of walking on eggshells and then thinking that her life was hard, but it really wasn't the hard. It was the energy that was around all the things she was trying to accomplish. So that's how our thoughts can be tricky. And part of growing into new, and every single person on earth, including me, every one of us wants new. Most people are not completely 100% satisfied with their life. That's okay, right? Because we always want to be growing and learning. But in order for us to manifest something, we have to let go of an old way we do something, and we have to allow a new way to come in. This month, April, we're still in April, getting close to May. This month and absolutely into May, this whole year really, and I've said this before too, we're in the energy of great change. How that change happens and where that leads us is absolutely up to each one of us. I'm a believer in free will. And I'm also a believer in divine destiny and the help of the universe. A lot of what we do is up to us. We have to take the lead. How that change happens and where that leads us is absolutely up to each of us. Our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, even letting go of those old shadow ego beliefs that never serve us. We might have someone I was talking with today has an old belief about his dating world, and he doesn't even know why he believes that. He just believes it. And he's like, oh, well. And that's really fine, right? Except that once we get stuck, then we want to say, wait, is this belief serving me anymore? Just to ask, go into wonder. Wonder's a great question. You know, when we want a great life, and everybody I talk to wants at least a mostly great life, a life we love, a life we want to wake up to, it takes commitment to truth of connecting to the inner workings of our soul. Even if you don't necessarily believe you have a soul, you have an inner world, and we need to connect to that. Otherwise, we're connected too much to the outside world, and that can cause chaos in our inner being. Commitment of truth to our part and where we are stagnant. Commitment to recognizing those dreams and desires that we have put on the shelf for too long. That's such a common theme. Those dreams and desires that we put on the shelf for too long. So what is it time to begin? What new beginning? What old belief can you let go of, or old way of doing something, so you can bring in something that's pretty cool, something that helps you feel a little bit more alive. One of my clients I was working with this week, she is a lovely being and likes to follow the rules and do things by instruction. And her soul, that higher level self of hers, wants her to do things that are not always by instruction. Paint outside the lines. Take an abstract class. Take boxing. Do something where we are feeling like it's not so rigid. That's how we become way happier in our being, stepping out of our comfort zone. So what is it time to begin? You know, think a moment. What would you do if your mind would not get in your way? Just take a breath, if you will. Humor me. Pause. Slow, even. Inhale. Slow, even exhale. And then think about that. What would you do if your mind would not get in your way? If you knew this great big dream I had, I'm not going to fail. You know, we've all heard that saying. And it is so true. What if we just went after it anyway? If no one cared at all, that we were just living our dream, right? We weren't trying to please. if we didn't get over involved in the opinions of others? If we really didn't care what others thought, what would you do and how would you live? Sometimes it's been so long since we've lived in a more independent, healthier way, go after our dream kind of way. Sometimes we've lived so long playing it safe that we have maybe forgotten what that is, what those dreams are. That's where daydreaming and guided meditation can help. I recently did a beautiful, calm, and connected meditation. Brian Coulter is his name. He's an astrologer on YouTube, and I really respect him. He led this calm and connected meditation because this energy we're in right now is really potent, and we are being asked to know where we want to go, stick with that, and then persevere. So in this calm and connected meditation, it grounded me into the presence of my physical body in a beautiful way with colors, and I loved it. It was about 20 minutes. And then he asked to have us envision our life about 10 years from now. Let those visions come in. And where we are, like I just said, this time we're in, we are creating the stage for the future. Every decision we make, even the micro decisions that we think don't matter, they all do. And they're all setting the stage for what our future holds. So we really want to know, what do I want? I don't want a mediocre job, so I'm not going to accept one. Maybe in the interim, but I'm still going to go after the dream job. Because it is always time to go after our dreams. It's always time to let any old beliefs fall away. And that means we have to be kind to self. That means we have to make ourselves a priority. And that is so much about the energy we're in. Yes, we serve others and we serve ourselves. And we're careful that we're not being nice, like we talked about. Nice is only good when it's actually authentic. But sometimes we're not even aware of when we're being nice and not kind to self. A dear friend of mine recently told me that she feels she is too kind sometimes. There have been times when she allows herself to let things go too easily. It's not that she pretends. She has just gotten so used to putting others before herself. She realized she does not even have enough of a network of friends to be there for her. So she oftentimes feels like she doesn't have anyone to call on if she needs help. She does too much for others. And it's hard for her, even for her to ask her kids to help her. Now, she's recognized that belief, right? That's a belief that she's recognized. Kudos to her. And next step is to change it. Remember, when we love ourselves enough and value ourselves enough, we understand our needs enough. So we no longer let the old beliefs and people that support those old unhealthy beliefs to clog our minds. Those old beliefs will fall away once we really start honoring and loving ourselves and making ourselves an equal priority. And that is in all facets of life. And of course, it takes time. It's layers and layers. Ernest Holmes has a great daily meditation book. It's called 365, The Science of Mind. I want to say a quote from there. We do not change all of the patterns of our thought in a moment. Rather, it takes place little by little until gradually the old patterns become transformed into new ones by some inner alchemy of the mind, the operation of which we do not see, but the manifestation of which we do experience. For our new beginnings to manifest, we want to make sure we free our mind, begin anew. Let those old thoughts go. And we need to have the freedom in our mind. We need to create the freedom in our life in order to bring in the new experiences. And freedoms can be many, right? Like changing a thought or giving ourselves 10 extra minutes to finish an exercise routine or a meditation or a chant or paint a little or do something nice for yourself. But what is freedom to you? Where do you feel restricted? Where do you feel that, I don't have enough time? Where do you feel that I am so frustrated and resentful because I'm not doing enough for me? That's lack of freedom. But remember, that's an illusion. Because unless you're chained and shackled in a basement, you have freedom to make choices. So if you're seeking a life that feels more free, then we need to free our mind. We must let those old constrained thoughts die off and let ourselves explore, let ourselves dream, let ourselves check out new places to stop on the way home. Stop at a new park, take a new walk. All of those things open our mind to expansion. And in relationships, and this applies more to the giver in a relationship. Now I'm leading this lovely women's group, and in it we talk about how sometimes women lose themselves. But it doesn't just apply to women. It applies to all people. The giver in the relationship oftentimes is the one that thwarts their dreams more. We make the mistake early on of creating union with a partner before we have even created union with ourselves. Think about that. We make the mistake early on, sometime in our patterning, of creating union with a partner before we have really even committed and created union with our beautiful self. It is first and foremost that we create a union with ourselves. Absolutely 100%. That's my shadow past. That's my absolute recovering pleaser. So this is something I'm familiar with. Creating a union with me first. Let this be our new beginning in small ways or big ways. What do you want? Claim it. Truly. Name it, claim it, and head in that direction. That is what April and May are for us. We got to know. We have to name it. And then we have to really stick with it, persevere, write it down, plan it out, and persevere. Because the more we hide our deepest desires, the more bitter, angry, depressed, flat we become. Where are you in your life? Where do you feel that flat, bitter, angry, depressed? Or are you happy? Overall, of course, all the time we might feel some of shadow feelings, but mostly we don't want those feelings. Where are you? What do you desire? How balanced is your life? Can you step outside the box and take some healthy, fun, adventurous risks? In this book club / women's group, we are doing a lot of this is from the book Women Who Run with the Wolves. Beautiful book by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. And what I'm going to read is stated as she. However, this applies to everyone on some level in some way. I hear from some people I work with that their partner is selfish and does their own thing. I want to be careful about the definition of narcissistic and selfish because it's sometimes used way too much. We have to go underneath that. What's causing that? Even those we might feel are selfish, perhaps that selfish person is a bit insecure. And even though they don't realize it, they're trying to please others. Whoever they're choosing for their partner or whatever they're doing in their life and their succession, it might not be because they want to. It might be because that's what makes them feel important or big. And then it comes across as selfish. And on some level, but it's bigger than that. And when they feel lonely, some people that are selfish feel lonely. Of course, sometimes givers feel lonely too. And that's why this applies to everybody. Because when we're trying to please others, whether it comes across as selfish and we do all the things we want to do so we look important, or who we date and then we feel important, it's all about that self-esteem, right? So much similar to the pleaser who's doing all these things for other people. So people love them, so people recognize them. It's all about how external people perceive us. So that takes that beautiful excavation work to understand, to discover, why do I do what I do? Why do I do what I do? So all of that long segue into, there is a time in our lives, usually in midlife, when a person has to make a decision. possibly the most important mental decision of her or his or their future life. And that is whether to be bitter or not. They often come to this in their late 30s or early 40s. They're at the point where they are full up to their ears with everything, and they've had it. And the last straw has broken the camel's back. They're pissed off. They're pooped out. Their dreams of their 20s may be lying in a crumple. There may be broken hearts, broken marriages, broken promises. People do not act upon their rage at the right time. Perhaps jumping the gun or having a delayed reaction weeks, months, or even years later, realizing what they should have done, could have done, would have said, would have done different. How did that feel? When you look back at your life, how did that feel when you saved all that up and it came out as rage? Was it really about that, or was it that you just gave up so much long before that? You know, when we give things up like that, when we hold things and it comes out sideways like a big verbal vomit or a volcano, when we're not going after our dreams, it's usually not caused by shyness or introversion, not using our voice, not creating our life, but by too much thinking, gets clogged in our fifth chakra. That's our gateway. Too much trying to be nice, too much trying to be accepted. Not enough acting and speaking and living from our soul. The wild, intuitive soul knows when and how to act. If only we would listen. If only we would live connected to our intuition. Our soul, that soul response carries insight, high amounts of compassion and strength. And we need it. We need the soul and we need the physical body. We need both. When we feel like things are not right, if we pause and ask for what we really want, even when it feels uncomfortable to do so, and absolutely, especially when it feels uncomfortable to do so, when we allow ourselves to practice healthy boundaries, say what we need, speak our truth in respectful ways. Sometimes, of course, it takes us a while to get to the respectful if we've held it in too long. And by practicing firm and generous responses, but solid responses to ourselves, responses to others, but solid. Has to be solid. We have to know what that means, right? What does solid mean within us? It means we got to connect to our soul by not always being nice and not always making it easy for others. And sometimes allowing ourselves to be mad. And we get to say we're mad. We can be mad and express mad. It doesn't have to be nasty in a rude, disrespectful, name-calling way, but we get to be mad. And sometimes we're not going after our stuff because even though we know what we want, we've connected to our soul, we don't feel strong enough to do it. So ask yourself, are you waiting for someone to do it for you, save you, hold your hand? Or do you just feel too tired or timid to allow other people in to help you? Begin to recognize we are not meant to do everything alone. We are absolutely not. Stay present. Life is fleeting. And then that co-creation, remember, trust that the universe has your back because the universe is here, always working with us, that beautiful energy. We got to know what we want. Life has so much, as we all know, it's not always smooth or easy. There's so many twists and turns, and we've had 4 years of a lot of that, a lot of bumps, a lot of challenge. But stay the course. You're worth it. We are worth it. I want to end with this beautiful quote. Well, it's actually a longer saying than a quote. A dear friend sent this to me. And I want to share this with all of you because it can be true and is meant to be true for each of us on the path of awakening and living the life we are destined to live. This exemplifies the journey of living in the balance of being an incredible soul within this human experience. And this was written in the feminine pronoun. However, I have shifted it to include all people because it really does pertain to all people who persevere, who don't give up. And I hope this can ring true for all of us. They are unshakable, not because they don't know pain or failure, but because they always push through, because they always show up and never give up, because they believe anything is possible no matter the odds. And perhaps what makes them beautiful has less to do with what lies upon the surface and more to do with what lies within. They aren't just beautiful because of their appearance. No, they are beautiful because of the way they choose to live and love, in the way they embrace all of life's experiences, good or bad, in their willingness to bend but never break, and in their courage to believe that the darkness can't hold them as long as they continue to create their own light. They are just like a pearl, made from grit, but full of grace. They're unstoppable. They know it's not what happens, but how they choose to respond, with perseverance in their mind and passion in their heart. I don't remember who wrote that, but someone will tell me or I'll find it. Persevere. Be graceful. Be kind to yourself. And become unstoppable on your journey to really find and connect with your destiny. Because that is why we are here. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing and liking. Thank you for reaching out to me. I am so honored and so grateful. I wish you a beautiful week, and I will see you all again soon.